Walking in the office today, mate, you never guess what I saw. Mark came in, and it's like he had forgotten his socks, which is really weird. Like, why would you ride your bike without socks?
Yeah, well, I noticed
It
when
must
he
be really
got...
uncomfortable, don't you?
Well, it looks odd as well. And then he got off his bike, he left his shoes in his pedals. So down on the bike rack is a bike wearing a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Bit weird.
Very weird.
Fraser got here, stripped off outside and threw all of his clothes in a box.
I think it's
All right, chaps.
Oh, hey, dude.
Oh,
how's
hi,
it going?
Mark. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah.
Hi, Fraser. Both looking fit today.
How was your weekend?
Thanks. Yeah, great, thanks. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Doing that.
That's
No,
all right,
no, you
mate.
carry on.
Love you guys. Love your work.
You try and have a nice day.
My gosh, if they only knew.
That's so odd.
It's just strange, isn't it?
It's not healthy.
I think we should just help them, just become more pro.
Fraser, I felt like I overheard something as we walked through the GCN set. Were they dissing us, triathletes?
Hank and Opie, they're really nice blokes. I don't think so. I think we're fine.
Yeah, well, I felt like I overheard them dissing our bike skills and things that we wear.
Don't worry about it, Mark. I mean, I think you're really pretty stylish, mate.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, but no, actually, in all seriousness, though, I am a little bit fed up with the abuse that we get as triathletes. I mean, we constantly call things like a jack of all trades, master of none, and various other things like that.
We are. It's definitely something I've unfortunately heard probably too many times over the years. But how about we discussed it and actually proved that maybe we're master of everything?
I personally think we are, so I'm looking forward to trying to tackle this and getting to the bottom of it. But also in today's show, we are going to be covering the new Zwift Run Festival. We also have Patrick Lange's 2019 schedule and also doping within the age group ranks. Right then, Fraser, let's get stuck into this. Are we as triathletes, jack of all trades, master of none? Now, I do remember a little Twitter battle between Lance Armstrong and Simon Whitfield way back in the day, and now Simon Whitfield is a previous Olympic champion for triathlon. I remember Lance Armstrong referring to us triathletes, or particularly the ITU triathletes, as the race being a shower, shampoo, blow dry run, which is quite insulting.
Yeah, it is, and I do remember that little tit for tat on online that Lance gave to Simon, and it's just one of those sort of many insults that unfortunately we've become accustomed to getting, isn't it? And pure swimmers, cyclists and runners do tend to, unfortunately I'd say, have this belief that we only do triathlon because we're not really good enough at any of those individuals, don't they?
Yeah, and also they feel that because we train for 3 different disciplines, we can't there's no way we could possibly be good at one of those disciplines. But I think we've got a little bit of an argument here, because yes, maybe there is a little bit of truth to that. We do wear some odd stuff from time to time, mostly for performance, but I don't know, some of it is questionable, isn't it?
Sometimes just because people like to, but anyway.
We actually, as triathletes, we've got a pretty good case against us for actually being quite good in some of the individual disciplines. So if we take, well, let's run through each of the sports, swim, bike and run. So swimming, how well do we transfer over to swimming as triathletes?
Yeah, I mean, there's an awful lot of very good swimmers have left the fold of swimming to come to triathlon. So you've got some excellent swimmers within the sport. Andy Potts, for example, springs to mind on the male side. Now, of course, most recently, Lucy Charles, definitely a fantastic swimmer who came from pure swimming to triathlon.
And if you think of Javier Gomez, I mean, I wouldn't even class him as one of the best swimmers, but he actually has made it through to the Spanish swimming national champs in the 1500 final each year. Well, he did it for like 3 years on the trot or something.
Quite regularly, which to put into context is really very, very impressive. Anybody swimming at any national level is fast, let alone making finals at national level.
Absolutely. And then for actual pure swimmers coming into triathlon, I think a lot of them actually get quite a shock. And I've actually been in a race where we've had some Olympic swimmers in an open water event, and they have had the scare of their lives in a mass start situation. On to the biking, well, we've had pro cyclists coming into triathlon and having minutes put into them by triathletes. And equally, we've had triathletes like Alistair Brownlee getting stuck into bike races in Calpe with pro cyclists involved in it and handing it to them. He won an event recently out there. So we're pretty good on the bike as well.
Yeah, I mean, you've got, probably the most clear example I can think of in the last year is Andrew Talansky, multiple Grand Tour riders, done, top tens in major stage races like Paris-Nice and such, and he didn't come into triathlon and sort of light up the bike splits. He rode very well, don't get me wrong, but it's not like he was carving minutes out of the other riders that were racing the triathlon. So I think there's a little bit of disrespect at times, isn't there?
Well, yeah, and then obviously we've got the run, and we've got, again, someone like Alistair Brown is a prime example in that he has stepped into international run races and very high level 10Ks, and again, been right in the mix throughout.
And let's not forget about another pretty good example of Gwen Jorgensen. I mean, she did pretty well.
Yeah, but obviously we would love to hear from you guys as to whether you think we as triathletes are jack of all trades. So quite simple, a yes, a no, or an other. If you've got some sort of debate out there you'd like to leave in the comment section below, and you can enter that by clicking just up here. But now for last week's poll, and we asked you which triathlon start is better, and we had other in last place with 4%.
We had dive start 12%.
And then we had open water start, which is my favourite, with 21%.
Rolling start, which is something that neither of us have ever experienced actually, but that's 23%.
And then, probably not surprisingly, a beach start with 42%. And we did have a comment from someone saying, I love a beach start because I just let everyone go and then go in the call, which is a very good point. I guess you can just find your space a little bit more on the beach start.
Complete honesty there, I guess, which is a good thing. Now for some news from this week. Now, our good friends at Zwift, well, they have created a run festival, haven't they, Mark?
Yeah, it's going to be on the Watopia course, so it's called the Zwift Watopia Run Festival, and they've got both a 5K and a half marathon you can get involved in this weekend on the 23rd and 24th of February, Saturday and Sunday. And they actually have numerous different events that you can get involved in. So they've got 4 different time options for the 5K on the Saturday, and then actually going from Saturday evening through to Sunday, they've got 6 different time options for the half marathon.
And they're all in GMT time zones, aren't they? So
they are, so accommodating everyone.
Yeah.
And they also have got 4 different categories, so A, B, C and D, and that starts from 7.5 kilometers an hour for category D, all the way up to a top speed of 13.5 kilometers an hour for category A. So you can really choose whichever sort of category suits you and the speed that's more comfortable with you. And we are going to be getting involved ourselves.
We are. We're not going to nail our colours to the mast quite yet, are we? We're going to decide, but hopefully the half marathon on Sunday at some point, right?
Yeah, we'll let you guys know over social media, and if you do want to get involved, you're not sure how to, then do drop us a message or in the comments section below, and we'll try and help as best as possible. And excitingly, if you do complete one of these, then you will get some very special swag from Zwift for your avatar on Zwift. Right, next up, this is quite an exciting one for cycling and running, because this is an update from Strava. So if you are using Strava and you are a Summit member, so you've got that sort of premium tier membership.
Spent some money on your Strava account.
Which phrase it does. And then you can access this new update, which is basically a new course or route creation tool that you can literally just use your finger to create the route, which is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an amazing idea, because presumably they're accessing all the heat map data that they store on Strava, which essentially means any ride that you've ever done, you can look at your heat map and it'll be increasing shades of red for the more ridden a road is that you've done, right?
Yeah, and obviously using previous users' activities. So you swipe your finger along a route that you'd quite like to take, and it will match it up as best as possible. And then you can save that and either use your device to help navigate on that route, or obviously upload that then to a third-party device such as your watch or your bike computer. So very exciting.
Definitely.
Last week we were able to announce Jan Frodeno's 2019 race schedule, and now we have Patrick Lange's race schedule.
Fairly similar schedules, aren't they, Mark? Wow.
It's fun. It's funny.
Crossover.
It's almost like he might have hung on to see what Jan's schedule was. I don't know. But we do have it here. So he actually starts with a half marathon in Berlin, beginning of April, and then he heads over to Thanyapura in Thailand to do a training camp, and then that leads him in quite nicely to the Ironman 70.3 Asia Pacific Champs, which are taking place in Vietnam.
Yeah, and then that brings him back home to Germany, where he's from, to focus on the Ironman European Championships, which are in Frankfurt.
Yeah, and then interestingly, he's put down that he's planning to do the Ironman 70.3 World Champs in Nice, and I'm guessing probably because it's just like it's closer to home, it's in Europe, so it's a little bit easier to go to, and he's limiting that travel before the big Ironman World Championships.
And that's quite interesting, really, because he hasn't done 70.3 Worlds before, and obviously he's a 2-time Kona champion, so there'll be a lot more pressure on him at that shorter distance. But whether he's too bothered about that, we'll find out.
Interesting to see if he's got that speed, if you can call 70.3 speed, but compared to Ironman distance, it will be very interesting. But we also have Anne Haug's race schedule too, and obviously she had a very impressive year last year, really broke through, incredible runner. And it's very similar actually in some ways. She starts actually with the Challenge Gran Canaria race, and then she's going to the championship race in San Marino, which
and that takes her into the European Ironman Championships in Frankfurt, much like Patrick is doing, both German athletes, so clearly a big focus for them. And she too is going to take herself down to Nice for the World 70.3 Champs, and then on to Hawaii for the Ironman World Championship.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting to watch those two races this year. Well, we did mention about the championship race in Slovakia just before in Anne's schedule, and we actually have the pro field, or some of the pro field, announced for that event just here. So we have Sebastian Kienle back again, trying to get his win.
Yeah, of course.
He hasn't actually won it yet, and Lionel Sanders hasn't announced his entry into it just yet. Lucy Charles Barkley is also coming back.
Remembered.
Yeah, and then we have Florian Angert, Ben Knut, Dave McNamee, Andreas Dreitz, Anthony Costas, and Rudy von Berg in the men's race.
Yeah, and on the women's side, we have Anne Haug racing, we have Radka Kalafelt, Kimberly Morrison, Sarah Lewis, and Daniela Samler, who won Challenge Roth last year. Now, at this time of year, we're quite accustomed to seeing new sponsorship signings and announcements from athletes, and one that's caught our eye this past week, I suppose, was American athlete Ben Hoffman has announced his new bike sponsor, which is Cervelo Bikes.
Yeah, this is quite exciting actually, because Ben had a really rough year last year. He raced in Cape Epic, the mountain bike race with Sebastian Kienle, had a crash, suffered an injury, which seemed to just plague him for the rest of the year, to the point that he didn't start at the Ironman World Championships, although he qualified. Now, he did previously have Specialized as a long-standing sponsor of his, and they have obviously pulled out and put their resources elsewhere, which was worrying for Ben, coming to later stages in his career. But Cervelo, a fantastic partner for him, and on a great bike, the P5X.
Yeah. Good luck, Ben.
Yeah, well, now moving on, we have the Ironman World Championships military division, and they have announced that they have 10 spots available at the Ironman Bolton event.
Yeah, and that's the European qualifier, the sole European qualifier for the military division. I presume, although we're not entirely sure, that there's going to be other qualifiers in other continents and part of the world. So yeah, just a great initiative for members of the military to access Kona, really.
Yeah, well, now moving on from great news to not so great news, and that is because it is a doping violation within the age group ranks.
Yeah, now, it's unfortunately something that we read about a little bit too often, if you ask me, Mark, and I struggled to wrap my head around it, especially, well, anyway, it's a Canadian athlete by the name of Robin Tétrault who received an 18-month sanction, which he got from June the 3rd last summer. So I'd assume that means backdated. He's actually probably halfway through his ban already, but...
Yeah, well, we've got the name of the substance here, and I have to read it because I don't know. It is Terbutaline, and it is a beta-2 androgenic receptor agonist. Did I say that right, Fraser?
It sounded good to me, but...
Well, basically, it is a muscle relaxant, and it's used quite a lot for asthma. And funnily enough, he actually won every event he entered in 2018 in the male 40 to 44 category. But yeah, they've caught up with him, so yeah, not so good news for him.
Yeah, good riddance, Robin. Now we've got Caption Comp, where we decide to review which one of your comments was the funniest, I suppose, from last week.
Yeah, well, last week it was the Winter Triathlon World Championships over in Italy, and we had quite a funny photo of people doing snow angels whilst the race was going.
I thought it was funny.
I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, we had a couple of good captions coming in. One from Eric Robinson. They said, when you're so far back, even your family decides to do something else, like snow angels.
Yeah, but our winner came from Joel Klingenberg, and his caption was, Winter Triathlon is snow joke.
That's my kind of joke, a good old dad
It's a good
joke.
one, yeah.
Bit of a
So
pun.
nice one, Joel.
Yeah, well, you are winner of the cap, so please do get in touch and we'll send this one out to you. But now for this week's Caption Comp, and this comes from the Cape Town race that we recently, the World Cup that we recently had, and it is a sea lion. I don't know the actual difference too well.
I don't either, but it's a
Big old thing on
Yeah.
the pontoon as the race is about to start. So please do send your captions in the comment section below. But before we head off, we've actually got some other great captions that have come in on the show this last week. Let me just read them out to you. So, Jonathan Gunnison said, "Yes, Fraser, tell Heathers who's boss." And this was after you having a go about the dive.
It was, yes.
Told you that my hashtag would be a thing. Hashtag stop Fraser abuse and hashtag Mark keep that beard. Well, Jonathan, you are now my favourite viewer.
Mine too.
No, in all honesty, I'm not sure if I like the beard, but because I've had so much hate, I'm going to keep it. Sorry, guys. Felix Glor said, "I like how Aeromark looks even at his desk," and I do tend to do that quite a bit.
Yeah, you're quite good at that. I'm going to try and copy actually.
I just like to practice
get the shoulders in.
any moment I can when I'm typing, whatever.
And finally, we've got one from Jock Erds who said, "Why these are cool new camera angles?"
Yeah, so where we've been sort of working different camera angles during the show and ultimately just making ourselves look a lot better. So that was a bit more input from me and Fraser, just how to get rid of the double chin and stuff like that. But it
wasn't really our input at all, was it, Mark?
It wasn't, no, it just looks cool.
It's those guys.
Yeah.
Now, this weekend we had Ironman 70.3 in Geelong, which is a fairly major race in Australia, always attracts a pretty good field, and this year was no different. Although, unfortunately, just pre-race had the unfortunate withdrawal of top seed and pre-race favourite, you could argue, Sam Appleton from Australia. But it still left a whole host of other athletes, including the likes of multiple world champion Javier Gomez from Spain, who were looking to take the win. Usual proceedings took place in the water with Uber swimmer Josh Amberger from Australia leading out a group of 5 or 6 guys, including Javier Gomez. But when exiting T1, Josh Amberger actually seemed to have what appeared to be race-ending mechanical, but he managed to resolve that and get himself back into the race, albeit a few minutes behind. He ended up coming into transition with another fellow Australian, Tim Van Berkel, and they were about 2 minutes behind that group of athletes who were up the road, including Javier Gomez. It would appear that everything was sewn up and easily winnable for Javier, and that was the case. He took a 4-minute victory margin over Josh Amberger, who had an incredible race really to get himself back into second place, and Tim Van Berkel taking third spot. On the women's side, there was a small but particularly deep field racing in Geelong. There was a group of 5 girls exited the water, including a trio of extremely strong athletes who surged very early on in the bike to create a strong buffer, and those included Caroline Stefan of Switzerland, Radka Kalafel, now from Australia, and Ellie Salthouse, also Australian. Now they created a pretty surmountable 2-minute gap over Grace Theck, who essentially seemed to be locked out of the podium, but she had an extremely strong run and overhauled the Swiss athlete Caroline Stefan, who seemed to have a bit of an off day by her very high standards. Grace Theck taking third, Ellie Salthouse holding on to second, and Radka Kalfelt taking the victory. Now, one of the most iconic races that you're going to hear about in New Zealand is Challenge Wanaka, which was this weekend past and had an extremely strong field of international athletes taking part. Hometown favourite Braden Curry actually took the win, which is extremely exciting for him. He passed American Uber biker Andrew Starkovich mid-run to secure that victory, and third place went to Aussie athlete Matt Burton due to a very strong bike run combo. On the girls' side, there was an equally strong but small field, which included Hannah Wells from New Zealand. We had multiple Ironman and long distance winners in Meredith Kessler from the US and Laura Siddall of the UK. And that effectively ended up being our podium, with Hannah Wells securing the victory midway through the run, Meredith Kessler holding on for second, and Laura Siddall coming through with an extremely strong run for third. Now, we always love to get your submissions and pain caves and pictures and all sorts, but this week we've got some videos to look at.
Yeah, quite an array of videos, quite unusual ones as well. So we've got one sent in from Harvey, and this is when they were taking part in the national team relays, which take place in Home Pierpoint, which is quite a
Close to your home?
Yes, well, where I used to go to uni. So here we go. They are going to dive in slow-mo into the water. And here they come.
Go. You know who'd be proud of that one?
Hey.
Heather.
Yeah, she's quite a fan of your diving, she.
Yeah.
Well, next one is from Alexandra, and this is from Amsterdam Airport. And this was a little joke whilst they were waiting to catch a flight back to Portugal. And they said, training every day and everywhere. There we go. So
it's a big airport, Skipple, so I guess you've got a lot of ground to cover.
Limbering up.
Yeah.
Onto the escalator rail. Oh, here we go. Swim portion. He's lost his balance a bit.
Not recommending.
Okay, and onto the bike.
Oh, here's the next one. Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
Looks very uncomfortable.
Maybe better than the swim. Oh, and there's the run.
There we go. I think you need some padded shorts for that one.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, next one is now moving on to Nicholas, and this is from Somerset in the UK, and they said practicing for their first 70.3 and open water swim with their transition. So let's take a look. Got paddling pool in their back garden, running it. Oh! Hope they didn't face plant at the bottom there.
I think he did.
He's
calmly taking his wetsuit off.
And transition practice.
Yep, not bad.
Oh, very good, very good.
Yep.
Oh, stamped. Yeah. Oh, nice. Pro moves there. Ah, he's got his heel stuck.
We've all been there.
Well, that's good effort. Good effort in the back garden. And then we've got actually another one from them. And this is...
Oh, getting the crowd involved.
And yeah.
Sore.
Very good. But no, this has actually got me thinking, because this first video that we looked at, where he did literally the transition practice, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And I wonder if we could get this involved in some way into the show and actually get the viewers involved. So obviously practicing our transitions are really important, and if we can shave some valuable seconds off, I mean, that's fantastic. It's free time.
Absolutely.
So could we, in the show, do a T1, maybe even a T2 competition? So send in your videos, get someone to film you whipping your wetsuit off as quickly as possible. We'll get involved.
We'll definitely do one down the street. Maybe.
Obviously, it is easier if you're coming out of a swimming pool when it's wet inside the wetsuit. You can whip that off. But if you do want to just do it at home, I mean, it's harder, but yeah, why not?
Definitely give it a try, and it's all good practice.
Get someone to film you, or even prop your camera up, film yourself, and send it in to us.
Right, that is us marked for yet another GTN show, isn't it? So what we need from you guys is to get out there and start practicing transitions. Go and give a go, get yourself timed, someone else watching you filming it, drop it in so that we can start, well, giving it a little bit of a review.
Yeah, and we'll do it ourselves, and we'll post them over social media, and yeah, you can see how good we are at it as well. And also don't forget about the Watopia Run Festival on Zwift, which Fraser and myself are going to be doing on Sunday. Please do get involved and come and say hi to us whilst we're doing it. And also, don't forget to head on over to the GTN shop if you'd like to get hold of some of our GTN tops and hoodies, towels and all sorts. You can do that by just hitting on the shop icon, and also give this video a like and click the globe if you're not already subscribed to GTN.
And if you want to see a video that we did on what to wear for triathlon, decisions between one piece or two piece, you can find that here.
Yeah, and if you'd like to see our road versus off-road running feature, then you can click that just here.